Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing another episode of What Did I Get This Week? So in the last episode I had mentioned some figures that I was going to be getting at the end of the week that I was going to wrap into the next episode or whatever. Ended up being a whole lot more stuff than I thought that came in, so we're actually going to only look at manga this time around, and then I'll do those figures in a completely separate video, because it's basically a whole haul of its own at this point. Anyway, starting off with the Viz releases, we've got volume 21 of Elusive Samurai, and if I remember correctly, the series is 27 volumes in total. I think volume 26 just came out in Japan. Anyway, super cool volume cover as always. A lot of really cool detail in the background and on the clothing and everything, as you'd come to expect from this series. One thing that's been kind of interesting is actually the design of the spines. So for the first chunk of the series they were red, and then for the middle chunk they were white, and the logo was like a different color for each volume. But now, starting with volume 20, we've got this sort of dark bluish purple with this kind of gold logo. I'd have to go back and check to be sure, but I want to say it probably coincides with the time skips in the series, maybe. But yeah, I just think it's always fun when mangaka do cool stuff with the spines, whether that's, changing colors, like Soul Eater and Undead Unluck also come to mind for that, or like the classic Dragon Ball spines where they all connect in one big picture. I don't know, it's just a lot of fun, especially because when you put your manga on the shelf, the spine is the part that you actually see, not the covers, so yeah. Next up, we've got volume 21 of Blue Box. And this series, as many people predicted, just recently ended. I won't get too much into spoilers, but I know some people are disappointed with some of the last couple chapters not fleshing out certain events, I guess you could say. I didn't really have a problem with it. I didn't think they were really necessary or really relevant to the themes or the emotional core of the story, so I'm perfectly happy with the way that things ended. I believe the series is going to end up being 28 volumes, so just one more than Elusive Samurai. And like Elusive Samurai though, this is volume 21, so about as many volumes to go for the English release anyway, as Elusive Samurai. Also just want to point out this really pretty looking cover, although I feel like that basketball is maybe a bit oversized, but anyway. Then we've got volume 37 of Black Clover, which is the penultimate volume here. It's a pretty big one, which leads me to believe that 38 is also going to be pretty big. I imagine they just crammed all the remaining chapters into 2 volumes instead of having 3 shorter ones. But yeah, it's been a while since we got a Black Clover volume. For those of you that don't know, I don't remember when this was, but for the last couple years of serialization, the series did switch over to a quarterly release schedule as opposed to weekly. So that really slowed things down as far as the release of the final arc. But all in all, I hope that Tabata was able to wrap things up, as he wanted to. But yeah, starting off with a lot of series that have ended recently. Elusive Samurai was a little bit longer ago than the other ones, but Blue Box was very recent, and then Black Clover also pretty recent, so knowing how long those series ended up being, it'll be nice to sort of count down towards the final volumes for each. I did actually finally start watching Black Clover. I'd put it off for a long time just because I don't know, wasn't really feeling it. But the upcoming second season, which airs in October, kind of motivated me to finally sit down and start watching that. Will I be able to finish 170 episodes in the next 2 months? I don't know, but we'll try. Then we've got a pretty exciting new first volume, that being The Martial King, Boichi's latest manga. The series is currently on a hiatus, but with what we got, it was a pretty fun, enjoyable series, and we were just starting to get into some exciting lore and history of the world before that hiatus started. But yeah, as you'd expect, amazing artwork from Boichi, and the post-apocalyptic Western setting is pretty fun too. It kind of reminds me of Trigun a little bit because it's got some sci-fi elements to it. But Boichi himself describes it as a Italian spaghetti western with a intended global audience. With manga already kind of breaking into the mainstream all over the world. I do wonder how Boichi approached this series differently than you would a typical manga, because even typical mangaka seem to be getting pretty popular with fans overseas, even if they're not specifically aiming for that audience. But yeah, fun series. Hopefully it comes back from hiatus soon, and yeah. Next up, we've got Volume 8 of the smash hit Kagurabachi, which just returned from a short hiatus itself. Now, if you had asked me a couple months ago, I would have said that this arc right here was my favorite in the series, but honestly, with the last dozen or so chapters we've been getting, the kind of the flashback arc, that might have taken the top spot. Yeah, the current arc has been great so far. I think it also shows a lot of promise for the series to keep improving even more. If we already had an amazing arc like this a little bit earlier on, and we're topping that even now. I say we like I'm writing the manga with Hokazono, but Then we've got Volume 4 of Ichi the Witch. These I feel like are coming out pretty quickly, but I imagine we'll slow down pretty soon here once we start getting closer to the the current volume in Japan. With this cover, we've got Gokuraku here, kind of looking like the Colgate twins from Fire Emblem Engage, if you know what I mean. With this volume, we continue the Bakugami arc, which is definitely pretty solid, and it's nice that it ends with the addition of another team member. I won't say much else to avoid any major spoilers, but I will say that Bakugami here is probably my favorite magic design in the series so far. Despite being kind of evil and very hateable, I think he's very cute. But yeah, still enjoying this series. I think the current arc is pretty interesting, especially once Fujimine showed up, so definitely excited to see where we go from here. Then for our last two regular-sized volumes, I'm just going to be touching on them quickly. So that's going to be Bugle Call Song of War Volume 8, and then Shinobi Undercover Volume 2. And the reason I'm not going to delve into these too much is because I'm actually going to be returning these. They came, you can't really see that well, but they came with the covers all bent and creased, so yeah, I'm going to be replacing these. So, moving on to our larger trim size, we've got the latest volume of Steel Ball Run, Volume 8. And once again, this stupid pattern on the spine here really conflicts with the colors on the cover, even on the back too. Just doesn't look great, but I guess it's what we're stuck with. So this volume, it gives us the Civil War arc, renamed to The Abandoned in the localized version, which, any JoJo fan would probably tell you is one of their favorite arcs. This volume does also have probably my favorite colored Araki illustration in the entire series. I've always really loved the colors on this one. Johnny, one of my favorite characters too, so kind of a match made in heaven. And the double page spread that accompanies it is very nice as well. And then at long last, we have the reveal of D4C, renamed here to Devilish Deeds Done Damned Coldly, which is not terrible. It still keeps the D4C acronym, which is how the stand is referred to for most of the part anyway. It's definitely better than Filthy Acts at a reasonable price, but not nearly as funny or iconic, so you win some, you lose some. Obviously the real name would have been the best, but I guess this is fine. Especially since, like I said, it's usually just abbreviated to D4C anyway. And then, of course, have to mention, this does also include the 7 days in a week little mini chapter. But yeah, here's just hoping that Viz can make it to the finish line without any major mistakes or blunders, like some of the early volumes had. Moving over to Kodansha, we've got one pickup, which is Volume 11 of Saint Young Men. These volumes have been coming out super slowly, which I don't mind because I haven't actually started this series, and I imagine it's because the English release is pretty close to the Japanese one. So yeah, not much to say, but I do feel like this is kind of a pretty popular series among more niche circles, so I'm definitely excited to check it out when I get the chance. And then for Yen Press releases, we've got a Akira Hiramoto double feature here with Volume 4 of Super Ball Girls and Volume 3 of Futari Switch. For Super Ball Girls, we've got Aki or Autumn on the cover, probably my favorites of the main 4 Super Ball Girls, with the super cute and detailed art style you'd expect from Hiramoto. And then for Futari Switch Volume 3, again, haven't started this one yet, so not sure who the character is, but art is really nice. So. And then rounding out our manga pickups, we've got a couple releases from Kodama. First one is Volume 3 of Sun Can Rock. So 2 Boichi releases in this week. It's very interesting seeing how his art has changed and evolved over the years. I think the biggest example is going from like the beginning of Dr. Stone to the end. Definitely starts as more of this kind of realistic, hyper-detailed style, and then ends in more of his current, I guess, cartoony style. But yeah, happy for more Boichi releases in English. And then, of course, we already got our 2 Baki volumes for the month, 21 and 22. So next month should bring us to the end of part 1 of Baki. Pretty exciting stuff. And then, as I mentioned in a previous video, come November, we will get the start of part 2. I wonder if they'll keep the 2 volumes per month release schedule for part 2. It would be awesome if they did, but obviously Baki is a very long series, so I don't know how feasible it is for them to keep up this rapid pace release. And then ending things off with a American comic pickup, we've got finally Volume 4, or Omnibus 4 I guess, of Ultimate X-Men. So this collects the finale of Ultimate X-Men, which is pretty exciting. Now that we've got all these volumes, I can finally start reading this. That being said, don't really know when that's going to be. For the next 2 months, I'm going to be doing my annual JoJo reread, and then October, of course, spooky stuff only. But maybe after that, I will crack these open and start reading through this. And that should round out pretty much all of the Ultimate Universe, I think. Alright, that was all the manga and comics, I guess, that I picked up over the last 2 weeks. Again, no CDs this time around, putting that on hold for now, and the figures will be in a separate video. So yeah, thanks for watching, hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya!